Hi everyone, my name is Timothy Chirpus, and this is my final project for marketing Bcor 3510. So the starting point for this project is that during the pandemic, people were cooped up, isolated by themselves for a very long time. And now, as we continue our path back to normal, people want to go out. They want to have fun with their friends, they want to do socially engaging things with each other and have a great time. And while people were isolated, they learned new skills. I personally picked up juggling, some people learned knitting, and some people learned how to cook. And since people learned how to cook, good food is a great way to bring people back together, bring everything back to normal with a good meal. And during the pandemic, people have been watching a lot of reality television, especially cooking competitions. And this will be the basis for my project. So the idea that we have is a cooking show inspired activity where you and your friends get together, go to a kitchen, and duke it out to see who can make the best meals. Obviously, this idea is heavily influenced by shows such as Chopped, The Great British Baking Show, and MasterChef. But you get to do it yourself without the stress of actually having to worry about Gordon Ramsay breathing down your back. So, because of this, you'll have access to a fully stocked kitchen with equipment and everything you have, so the opportunity to make that dish you've always been wanting to try, something to impress your friends, or you can all just see who can make the best stuff, and afterwards you get to all sit down, enjoy the meal you've worked together to make, and show off your new cooking skills. So our target market is we need adults because we can't have little kids running around with knives and in the ovens. So we're looking at adults ages 25, 60, because they have to be able to run around and compete in this sort of way. And they have to enjoy a lifestyle where they're socializing with others, going out, and then obviously we need people who enjoy to cook. And the behavior, they have to be willing to spend the money on a night out with their friends, so that way they can blow a couple bucks on something fun and activity to do. And geographically, we need them in larger metropolitan areas because the places we're going to be based, we're not going to be in the middle of a little town. We are going to have supplies that come in, and we have to be located well for that. So the attributes or benefit of this idea is that restaurants are a nice way to hang out with your friends, but they aren't exactly high energy or engaging social activity. You go there, you catch up, you go home. It's a great way to meet up with friends, but we want something where you're social and having fun and high energy. And so cooking is a communal activity. You do it with others, and it helps spark memories from a long time ago, or you can create new ones. Laugh and have a great time with your friends, and enjoy time with cooking while also having that thrill of competition, trying to outduke each other to see who can make the best meal, or it's just fun to be on the clock, see what you can do, just like on those shows. And so based on my map, I did cost and involvement to see what other types of entertainment also fell into this area, in the basis of food. So at the bottom, we have home cooking. Obviously, you have to be very involved with home cooking. You have to do everything from start to finish yourself, but the cost is low. It's much cheaper than going out to a 5-star restaurant. On the other side, low involvement and low cost is your typical fast food. You get there, you get your food, you go home sort of thing. In the same vein of participation and involvement, but at the much higher cost, you have your fine dining restaurants. That's something with date night, that sort of thing. That's more of an intimate setting. And so as you can see, we're kind of missing something in this area. And this is the gap that I hope to fill. My idea will be medium to high cost with high involvement that puts you in the shoes of the cook, but you don't have to break the bank, and you also don't have to do everything yourself. It's not as high involvement as home cooking. You don't have to do the cleanup, and you don't have to go to the store to get all the stuff. I will say this is based on the product features. It's a medium cost, high involvement, and you get that sense of accomplishment of cooking a meal yourself, but it's in a more condensed experience. It's in a couple hours span of time. You don't have to go to the grocery store, come home, do everything, and then have the cleanup process afterward. It's more condensed. And you also get the thrill of competition, of competing with your friends and having a great time, laughing with each other. And you get the freedom of making whatever you want because we'll have a fully stocked pantry that you can take anything to your heart's content. I will say the closest competition we have, though, are cooking classes. Cooking classes are high involvement, medium involvement, and a high price because it's normally somebody who's well-renowned teaching you a meal to make. And this is where we have to differentiate ourselves. Cooking classes are very rigid. You follow along with the instructor and do what you have to do, versus my idea is much more freedom and go with the flow. You have fun with your friends and make what you want to make. So the requirements I need for this idea. I very much need space. I need space for the kitchen, the pantry, the fridges, and the place they can eat afterwards. In terms of supplies, I need the kitchen equipment, I need utensils, I need that sort of all kitchen stuff. And obviously, I need to stock those pantries with something that would be the food. And then in terms of staff, I need managers, to just run the establishment. And then we'll have hosts/judges who will be in the rooms, the kitchens, with the consumers to make sure nothing too bad happens. And then we'll have a cleanup crew, because obviously we're not going to have people pay to then clean up their own mess. They're here to enjoy their time in the moment making the food, and we'll worry about the afterwards. And so in terms of pricing, the base price would cover all the food materials and equipment that you use that day, but there will be ways to scale if you're looking for a higher end experience. And this would be, you can add on a class before the competition. If you all and your friends wanted to compete to see who can make the best individual dish, you can add on a class with one of our instructors beforehand, and this is a way we can directly compete with cooking classes, because we have the class, but then you'll have the fun of the competition afterwards. And then, if you're a diehard fan of those cooking shows, we can add on filming of the competition, and we'll edit the video in the style of those shows so that you can take that home afterwards and relive the experience again and again. And lastly, we'll also add certain ingredients that are add-ons, more expensive ingredients like truffles or Wagyu beef, because obviously if you don't know what you're doing with those sort of things, we'd hate for you to completely butcher a couple $100s worth of food. But if you're more experienced and you want that risk of doing that, well, absolutely, you can pay for some more expensive ingredients and make beautiful dishes with them. And obviously, as we grow, we'd have more ways of adding on and ways to scale for consumers who are willing to spend more. So you're basically looking at a base price of $50 with opportunities to be added on. You can come in with as many people as you want, everybody pays $50, you have a great night, and then you can go home and add on any of these as you want to. So then for promotion, how are we going to get people to know about this experience? Obviously, the first place we'll start is advertise specifically to those cooking show enthusiasts. There's fan sites, websites, Facebook groups. We'll start there first, and we'll also run commercials during those shows. That way, if people are currently watching, they'll be like, oh, I've always wanted to do that sort of thing. This is a way I can get involved. And so we'll continue to position ourselves as a fun way to experience food. Come, bring your friends and family, have a great time, enjoy a meal that you've all made, and it's just a great time to have fun. And then that way we can directly compete with restaurants if we stress the satisfaction of making your own food. Going to a restaurant is great, but you don't get that sense of achievement that comes along with making your own food. So if we position ourselves in that way, hopefully we can draw some consumers away from restaurants and to us. And finally, with scale, we'd be able to reach more consumers. With more locations, we'd strategically place them. That way it was never too far to come to one of our restaurants. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. Hope they can make this a reality. Go Lions!